Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm Chief James Beere of the Oakland Police Department. One of the things I want to talk about, we'll start off with, are the events that occurred on Friday night into Saturday. That's May 1st to May 2nd. Between 9:30 and 10 o'clock on Friday night, police officers encountered a pretty chaotic scene in the downtown area. There was an estimated 1,500 to 2,000 people in the area, with several fights occurring simultaneously throughout the downtown area, particularly between 18th Street and Telegraph. One of the fights that kicked off was around 10 p.m., really close to the Fox Theater. Just after 1:30 a.m., Saturday morning, May 2nd, officers were directed to report of a vehicle driving on the sidewalk and striking pedestrians in the 500 block of 18th Street. Preliminary information indicates that the incident stemmed from a fight in the area. When officers arrived, they noticed two individuals fleeing. They were detained, arrested, and two firearms were recovered. Officers located additional victims on the scene. There was 6 people made up of 5 adults and 1 juvenile, and they were transported to the hospital after being struck by the vehicle. An additional adult was privately transported to another hospital. The driver of the vehicle fled the scene on foot. Through community tips, evidence collected at the scene, OPD is currently following up, and we've obtained a warrant for that person's arrest. They will be taken into custody here shortly. My advice to that person is turn yourself in, otherwise we will find you and you are going to go to jail. We also want to clarify that this incident was not associated with the First Friday event, which concluded 4 hours previous and was about 10 blocks away. With that, I want to talk about a long-term investigation that resulted in the arrests and seizures of multiple ATVs and vehicles yesterday. Before the arrests and seizures of the illegal ATVs and bikes, the Oakland Police Department was investigating this group for about approximately 2 months. This has been a group effort between our Criminal Investigation Division, undercover police officers, the use of technology, and strong support and collaboration with our community. On Sunday, the planned operation involved more than 100 additional officers from multiple Oakland Police Departments and units, to include the Traffic Enforcement Unit, our Dual Purpose Unit, which are the dirt bikes are our own. In fact, we trained 20 additional officers in anticipation for this operation. Argus, which is our air unit, our drone team, our real-time operations center, our ceasefire division, our crime reduction teams, our tow detail, and our SWAT team. The illegal biking group initially came into the area and they stopped off in San Leandro before entering Oakland. They chose to pull over in a park in East Oakland and offload their bikes for their staging area. We were constantly surveilling them, and we had undercover officers nearby. Once they offloaded their vehicles, or their ATVs and their illegal bikes, they started driving through East Oakland. They made it up to Lake Merritt, where we received numerous complaints from the community, into Berkeley, then back into Oakland, and eventually towards San Francisco. Throughout this whole process, the incident commander, Captain Perez Angeles, was looking for a safe location to make the arrests and seize the vehicles. But the goal was to minimize the risk to the participants that were engaging in this illegal behavior, the officers, and of course, all the other drivers on the road. As the group headed into San Francisco, the incident commander, Captain Perez Angeles, coordinated real-time with our real-time operations center, as well as the San Francisco Police Department's real-time investigative center and the California Highway Patrol. As a result of this collaborative effort, 77 ATVs and dirt bikes were recovered, 9 total arrests, 5 were misdemeanors and 4 were felonies, and 2 firearms were recovered. This isn't over. We've been utilizing technology, and the last time I was here talking about illegal sideshow involving dirt bikes and ATVs, we made multiple arrests outside of the city of Oakland and other counties. And I expressed that we're not going to stop investigating. We have resources dedicated just to track these people down that are engaging in this behavior. Much the same is true after this operation. There are going to be more arrests. If you made it away yesterday, just expect a knock at your door, and if it warrants and it's legally just, you'll be arrested as well. OPD is issuing a clear warning. Illegal and reckless activity like this will continue. Our focus, enforcement. During this operation, one individual attempted to flee on foot, jumped the fence, and decided to dive into the water. This did not stop the women and men of the Oakland Police Department. They were safely taken into custody. Again, this operation highlights our commitment to respond to the community complaints involving these people that are coming into our community, destroying our parks, and holding our community hostage. Again, I'd just like to thank all the officers that are involved, our Criminal Investigations Division, the California Highway Patrol, and San Francisco Police Department. This is truly a regional effort. And it's not just a regional follow-up either. We will go up and down the state of California with warrants for your bikes or your legal vehicles. I also want to add that we went back to the staging area and towed the vehicles that were used to transport these bikes into our city. That being said, now I'll turn it over to the Chief Lou from the San Francisco Police Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Derrick Lou, San Francisco Police Department. I want to start off by thanking Chief Beere and Chief Ramos for our tremendous ongoing partnership, as was demonstrated during yesterday's event. Their officers did exceptional work in seizing over 70 bikes and ATVs on the Bay Bridge. This is incredibly difficult work to pull off operationally, so my hat's off to them. On Sunday at 4:45 p.m., we received calls that the bike takeover was on San Francisco streets. This lasted over 45 minutes, and they were in our downtown area and Ingleside districts. They quickly overwhelmed intersections and caused great risk to public safety. Our patrol and technology resources were deployed, and as the group moved back onto the bridge, they were intercepted by CHP and OPD, who were ready for them. We know these takeovers are a regional problem, and we will continue to work in close collaboration with our local and state partners. In the past year, our Sideshow response unit has seized over 140 vehicles. And in March, CHP and SFPD operations led to 85 bike seizures when riders attempted to take over the Bay Bridge. We will continue to work with our partners and hold people accountable for these acts. We will also continue to work with our mayor and city and state legislators to strengthen laws that will help law enforcement crack down on these unlawful and dangerous activities. I again want to thank and underscore the great work of the Oakland Police Department and CHP on this case. Thank you.
Chief Ramos from the California Highway Patrol.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good afternoon. My name is Chief Steve Ramos with the CHP's Golden Gate Division. Just a couple quick words. Collaboration and seamless communication between Oakland PD, San Francisco PD, and the CHP has resulted in negating these jurisdictional gaps that have been an obstacle in years past. I couldn't be more proud to have two tremendous B partners in Chief Beere and Chief Lou. This is an example of coming together and working in unison to truly make sure that we are providing the safest environment to all communities within the Bay Area. Lastly, to the community and to the motoring public that were actually affected by the closure, thank you for your patience. I truly appreciate that and realize that our driving force, whether it be OPD, whether it be SFPD, or the CHP, is making sure that you are as safe as possible, and that will always be our primary motivating factor. Thank you.
With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Yes, do you have a dollar value estimate on the vehicles that have been recovered, and can you speak to their disposition? Are they going to an auction block? Are they going to be destroyed?
So those vehicles are seized, and there's been holds placed on those vehicles. There is a due process. My goal is to destroy them if we were legally allowed to do so. I would estimate it with the other vehicles involved that were towed, and this is just a rough estimate. I would say it's probably close to $200,000, if not more.
Is there typically one person per vehicle, and if so, does that mean there are about 60 people left who participated in this who are still kind of haven't been arrested?
So that's something that we're following up on now. Obviously, there's plenty of video footage that we recovered from technology as well as the drones. I will say that leading up to this, we did arrest 2 promoters that were driving or at least trying to organize another sideshow prior to this one. So it's not just the individual operators, it's also the organizers. I would say for the bikes, typically if there's usually just one. I have seen multiple people on the back of some of these bikes, which is extremely dangerous. And in fact, about 2 years ago, or less than 2 years ago, one person actually died as a result of being on the back seat of one of these bikes going across the Bay Bridge.
How many of those 9 detained are minors?
9 detained.
How many of those detained are minors?
I believe all of them are adults, but I'll ask Captain Perez Angeles. Any juveniles from the sideshow enforcement?
No, all adults.
All adults.
Henry?
Chief, we understand that obviously it's very difficult to get everyone on the bike. How would you address the critics who say you have all these officers out there and only 2 now, 9 arrests compared to 70 plus? Explain how difficult it is to corral everyone and grab everyone.
No, that's an excellent point and a great question, and I think Chief Ramos actually kind of hinted on that. Our number one goal is the safety of the public, to include the individuals and the groups that are engaged in this bad behavior. Unfortunately, when you're riding a dirt bike or an ATV, driving at high rates of speed and performing street stunts, that alone is as dangerous itself. One of the challenges that we had, bringing in over 100 police officers specifically to do this operation and this enforcement piece, was finding a safe place to actually do the takedown, if you would. So fortunately for us, we were aided by both San Francisco Police Department and the California Highway Patrol. We found a spot, particularly at the bridge at the right time when all of our coordination efforts were in place, and that was the safest place to take them into custody. However, you have to understand it was pretty chaotic, so everyone did not just stop. There was a lot of Oakland police officers and California Highway Patrol trying to basically get others to stop. So we all have pursuit policies, and we're governed by those policies. So sometimes we're not able to pursue people that continue to flee on the bike. We have to kind of weigh the threat to that person, the public, as well as what we're actually going to arrest them for.
Anna?
Chief, how did the rest of those individuals escape arrest? Can you talk a little bit about where specifically on the bridge this happened? I know you mentioned the one individual went in the water. How did everyone else get away?
So some people were able to flee the scene on their bikes. Others dismounted from the bikes and started jumping over fences and fleeing in different directions. Again, we're going to focus on the individuals that we knew we could arrest safely. We're going to focus on the people that we know were committing crimes, gun-related crimes, as well as other felonies. And again, for us, we're not going to risk the participants' safety, the officer's safety, or the general public safety. We have plenty of evidence to follow up on, and I'm very confident there's going to be additional arrests. So I'm good with taking our time and being safe and not making a bigger risk for the public than it already is.
Were there any injuries?
So there has been some reported injuries of people fleeing the scene. We would like them to, let us know, and we'll come talk to them. This is coming in third hand from friends and family. But that, as far as injuries from the arrest, I think it's important to note there were none, and there was no complaints. There was a use of force. I believe it was only one use of force. But again, I want to reiterate, this investigation started with one of our police officers being violently assaulted, a dog ran over, and a carjacking that was interrupted. If you engage in violence against the public, against our officers, we will defend ourselves. And you will be taken into custody. You will go to jail. So in this particular operation for the takedown, there was no injuries as a result of being taken into custody or the actual initial stop. I believe the injuries that I've been briefed on are people that were fleeing the scene, jumping fences, that eventually left the scene themselves.
Jacob?
So the 9 people who were arrested, where are they from? If you have their age, that'd be great. Also, what charges were they arrested on suspicion of? If we can get more details on that.
So the 2 promoters were arrested in relation to sideshow activity, specifically promoting sideshows. The arrests yesterday varied from reckless driving, possession of firearms. Was there warrants arrests as well?
Yes.
And warrant arrests as well.
Are the two promoters part of the 9, or is is that?
No, those are separate. They were arrested Friday.
Would those be of the misdemeanor variety, or?
No, so the 2 arrests separately from the 9 arrests yesterday are 2 felony arrests related to Sideshow activity.
At this point of the investigation, do you know if those bikes are linked to another crime activity in the area?
So that's still an ongoing investigation. I can't comment on that because I don't want to jeopardize the integrity of the investigation.
2 more questions, Henry, and then Drake.
Chief, I'm sorry if you mentioned this earlier. Any estimate of how many dirt bikes escaped, number one, number two, how many dirt bikes are the same as vehicles that are subjected to the same 30-day impound? Right?
Any vehicle that's left, and we have technology capturing it to include undercover assets, identifying it, we will be seizing those. So there's additional enforcement efforts that are going to take place. That's correct.
Drake.
I know you talked about what you're doing to stop it once it happens. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing to deter this from happening?
All right, I think the message is pretty clear. It's not just the traditional enforcement of the day of the Sideshow, which we will do. We've towed hundreds of vehicles that were involved in the Sideshow, but more importantly, we've towed last year alone, almost 200 vehicles that had fled from the scene. We have individuals in the police department that are dedicated to just investigating those vehicles, engaging in Sideshow, and then leaving and not being held accountable right then and there. So we have seen a noticeable difference. And I guess, for me, obviously, the regional partnership, not just with the CHP and San Francisco Police Department, but Alameda County Sheriff's Department and other agencies surrounding, we're banding together. And we're going to address this issue, and we're going to hold people accountable for acting badly.